Hello, everyone. My name's Evan Michaels, and I am an attorney and an executive with American Legal Media. Thank you for attending this webinar today. This webinar is going to concern employment and discrimination workplace verdicts. And the vehicle that we're going to be locating these verdicts is something with ALM called VerdictSearch.com. And VerdictSearch is an extension of our editorial content through law.com. And the trends that we're going to be seeing today are going to be something that I call the new voice, the greater social awareness that we have in society for rights of all types of individuals. New claims and different types of claims are being brought today that different than were being brought, say, 10, 15, or 20 years ago. And these we're going to see go in two directions. The first are people who are now more aware of their rights and society's more aware of their need for rights, and they're bringing claims. Also, there's an enlargement on laws, or at least a push for that, for traditional areas of discrimination, such as age discrimination. But before we launch in, I'm just going to go over a little bit about my own background, and then we're going to take a look at some of these trends. There's me. So again, Evan Michaels. To start with my contact information, just in case we get cut off or just in case you need to leave early, is emichaels, Michael with an S, at ALM.com. That's emichaels at ALM.com. And my direct dial is 212-457-1977. 212-457-1977. My background is 15 years ago, I graduated from law school and I ended up in litigation. And I had the experience of litigating on, as they say, both sides of the aisle. I had many years as a defense counsel in a prominent insurance defense firm where we did have an employers and insurers defense practice wing. Additionally, I also was an attorney for various plaintiff firms throughout New York City. So my unique experience of having both sides allowed me to really bring that experience into what I call now legal intelligence. And for the past 5 years, I've been in legal publication, the legal publication industry, legal intelligence, really bringing my background to the world of how we can solve problems for attorneys. Simple as that. So let our journey begin. This is law.com. This is the umbrella website for all of ALM's publications. You can see here that we have quite a number of leading publications that are household names in the industry. Now, the purpose of this webinar is not to discuss these publications, it's to discuss the topic of employment law. But I'm showing you these because what law.com is going to allow us to do is search all of them simultaneously under either topic or keywords where we can maybe isolate some of what I'm calling these new trends, these new social awareness types of cases, these new voices that are bringing claims. We're going to do a general search. We're not even going to go into a topic. We're just going to do a general search. Harassment. With the Me Too movement, harassment has now gained public notoriety almost every day that we're hearing about another harassment type of case. We're told by our own relationships with general counsels, harassment cases are the one thing that really keep them up all night worrying when the next case may appear. These are big concerns to employers and insurers. We're going to do a general search. And you're going to see some cases. Now, I just want to differentiate. These are editorially reported cases. This is not VerdictSearch. We're going to go to VerdictSearch that you can see up in this toolbar right here, more towards the right-hand side. VerdictSearch is our verdict reporting and settlement reporting. These cases are more editorial news to show recent cases and developments. And here you're going to be seeing all of these headers. These headers are direct links to editorial content for all of our publications. And here we go. November 15th, labor law. Why stop at sexual harassment? Law firm signs transgender letter. Here you're seeing a trend that it's not only gender discrimination, but now we have issues of transgender, gender identification. When we do a search in California very soon, if it's done the way I did it right before I started prepping for this webinar, one of the first cases we're going to find concerns transgendered issues. That's how you can connect these types of trends, is by looking for the current news, the current events, and then using VerdictSearch as a tool to dig deeper as to why these cases are happening and why they're resulting in a verdict or a settlement. You can also see the dates here, November 15th. There's multitude per day of these types of claims making it to our editorial content. Court system to survey attorneys about sexual harassment, gender bias in courts. Judge rebuffs sexual harassment suit against NFL Films for former voiceover artist. That was because the voiceover artist was an independent contractor, but that's besides the story. More news about sexual harassment. Attorneys that are being promoted and joining top firms to lead their employment teams. The Me Too movement. So again, this is not an expose on law.com, but we're merely going here to see that there are these key terms, not really numerical. We're not talking about numbers of cases or numbers of settlements or trials or verdicts. We're talking about actual keywords that are making it into the news and changing our social consciousness as to what and who can file a claim for employment discrimination or harassment. So we're going to leave law.com now, and we're going to go into VerdictSearch to make the connection between these key terms and the reporting that VerdictSearch provides. I'm going to quickly log into my account. And just for context, VerdictSearch is a very intuitive tool. It's very easy to use. You'll have a variety of search terms simply by clicking on the search button. These are all terms we know when we're beginning our own cases. This is just basic information, such as jurisdiction, state, type of case, type of injury. Very simple a way to approach your searching. And what we're going to do right now is, as I promised, we're going to go in and see if VerdictSearch is returning some of these keywords in these types of verdicts and settlement topics. Let's go to California. We'll select federal, because a lot of discrimination workplace cases involve federal law. Let's go to type of case. We have a broad selection here, but we're going to focus on what this webinar is intending, and that's discrimination and employment. We've returned over 3,000 cases. And here is the results. The results are going to be in numerical order based upon date. And what we're seeing here, as I promised, the very first case involves a transgendered claimant. And that was merely 2 weeks ago that was reported. We have limited time, but for the purposes of this webinar, to give you a context, if you were to dig deeper into VerdictSearch.com, you would see that the cases over the past 2 to 3 years are accelerating with different types of new voices, transgendered claims, emotional safety pets, believe it or not, and expansion of certain claims, expansion on sexual harassment laws, expansion upon age discrimination laws. So this is a way to quickly connect these social trends with actual hard data on how these verdicts and settlements are being reached. So we're going to click on this one. This one was a defense verdict, and I almost got ahead of myself there to tell you the result, but let's see how this report actually plays out. You'll see the verdict result for the defendant, the details and the title of the case, the court, the parties, the facts, and this is what makes VerdictSearch special. Allow me to just speak very briefly on this one feature and benefit of VerdictSearch, is that VerdictSearch, unlike any other means that you may find a verdict, is reporting. So we've actually consulted and spoken to both sides of this case, because the truth is always somewhere in the middle. And that's the way our particular reports get the why behind the what. You can go to another source and get what possibly the verdict was, but here we're going to tell you why, because we have vetted the report, spoken to both sides, have their information, have the arguments that were made at trial, and then which argument prevailed. In this particular case, long story short, the transgendered employee claimed discrimination based upon that particular status and identification, whereas the defense argued it was for actually making malicious and defamatory statements about the employer online. The jury found for the defendant in this particular case. And there's always going to end with information about the jury composition, the judge, how long the case was in the courts, and so forth. And these can all, of course, be exported, downloaded, just like any user-friendly interface. So that's the first case. We have quite a few here. We're not going to go through all 813, but we're going to just take a look at the titles and see that 1 out of every 5 cases may have one of those new types of keywords that shows that there's a new trend in that different types of employment cases are being brought today than were maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. Here we have a hostile work environment that resulted in a plaintiff verdict. Here we have a farm manager sexually harassed by workers. And you can, of course, read these for yourself. You're not going to need me to handhold you through all of these. Failed to provide an interpreter. This is an issue regarding language, resulted in a settlement of $15,000. English is now certainly no longer the only language that is something that needs to be protected in this country. Racial jokes. What kind of racial jokes? Are these different racial jokes that were traditionally brought up in court years ago? Are they implied? Was this material? These are types of things that you would be able to find out in the case. Again, that's beyond the scope of the time we have today, but this is how VerdictSearch as a tool will reveal the types of results to the news that we were seeing at law.com earlier. Here's a pregnancy suit, decreased hours, janitor harassment, terminated pregnant employees. So this is, again, a tool for employment lawyers either on the defense or on the plaintiff side to take a look at how the courts are dealing with some of these expanded issues. Back 15 years ago, we had a case where somebody who was pregnant was routinely locked out of the office to try to deter her from keeping her employment. What kind of pregnancy cases are being brought up today? This is something that VerdictSearch can answer. Again, very easy to use. We're going to go back to search results. And now we're going to go back to VerdictSearch altogether. Now you could easily go back to that initial interface and tweak. You could add different types of cases, change the jurisdiction. And I was going to take us into New York, and I'll do that first. We'll go to New York, just to show how robust VerdictSearch is. And we'll go back to the same types of cases. Discrimination, employment. And I'm going to New York for a reason. Here you can see and read these different types of employment discrimination headings. Blind woman claimed fitness club wouldn't accommodate her. Very interesting. $30,000 verdict. Let's go in here. This is the case I was looking for. Something that's very important in all forms of litigation are experts. And in VerdictSearch, if there's an expert on the case, that expert will be identified and we'll have an interactive link to show all the cases this particular expert has testified in. That is a super advantage tool for litigators. You can vet your experts, you can vet the other side's experts. This information is public. 264 cases this particular individual, Dr. Robert Goldstein, this expert, has testified in. That's a great resource. Again, we're not talking about a trend here, but I figured I would show you that type of functionality. Now let's go back to trends. We can get rid of New York. Sometimes I'm asked by attorneys, well, I'm looking for something unique. I really want to tighten my search. Can I use keywords for that? And the question is absolutely. So we can go back to the search terms. Harassment and failure. So why am I entering this? This is specifically for, say, an attorney that would like to seek verdicts and settlements regarding the allegation of failure to correct or failure to stop harassment, meaning that the harassment was potentially known and there was a failure to take proper steps to stop it, or there was just a gross failure within the own protocol of the company to stop forms of harassment, that their policies were inaccurate, excuse me. Nearly 400 cases. And here you're going to see failure to accommodate harassment, all highlighted, very user-friendly. And if you were to go through these reports and open them up, just like we did prior, you would be able to see where the particular allegations of failure as associated with harassment would occur. Now I'd like to take you back to law.com, and we're going to do another search. The first one was harassment, but let's take a look at discrimination, because I would like to showcase additional trends. Here again, some editorial cases. There we saw a connection. There we see a connection. Discriminating against pregnant legal assistant. And I think we've already seen 3 cases involving pregnancy in VerdictSearch.com. That's how VerdictSearch is reporting on trends which are keywords of public awareness. And here's some of the similar cases that we saw in discrimination. And that's just because there's a close connection, of course, between employment law, harassment, and discrimination. Okay. We'll take one click up here, if I can go back to pregnancy case. And this is a topic for another day, but here you'll see the editorial content. We're very proud of our editorial content. Just like VerdictSearch will tell you the why behind the what, why this verdict or settlement was reached, based upon interviewing the attorney, showcasing the arguments, and coming to that conclusion within the report. We will also further connect this particular topic, pregnancy discrimination, to digging deeper into employment law, litigation that's involving mid-sized firms, legal services. So this is the overall matrix of how we're isolating different trends, reporting on them, and then allowing VerdictSearch to give the outcome. So by returning the VerdictSearch, I would like to just sort of round about this webinar with a few features and benefits. I do appreciate you giving me your time, and I would like to showcase a little bit more of how VerdictSearch could actually be a tool and a solution for your law practice. Here we have the 6 main tenets of VerdictSearch of how it is a useful tool. You'll find the value of your case, and I'll add to that in a time-efficient manner. Time is money to an attorney. Finding your cases fast will save you time and money and be able to provide accurate analysis to your clients. Especially if you're on the plaintiff side, you want to manage a client's expectation. They may think their case is worth $10 million. What does VerdictSearch and its data have to say their case is worth? If you're on the insurance side, the employer side, you want to have an accurate estimate of the range of this potential risk, this potential exposure. That's the best way to start off with a case. We all know this. The last thing we want to do is to take a left turn, have a U-turn midway through the life cycle of a litigation, and have to go back and report to our clients that this case is looking completely different than what I forecasted. We have to be better than weathermen. We don't get second chances when we're going to a jury. Here we go, scouting opposing experts. We did cover that. I could do a completely other webinar on scouting experts. Useful tool, excellent resource for VerdictSearch. Analyzing the fact patterns, again, because this is actual reporting, you're actually getting, again, I'll say it for the last time, the why behind the what. This is how you are going to be able to analyze these cases from the trends that we've been spotting. Again, don't take this the wrong way, defense attorneys out there, but insurers will start low, and by having proper VerdictSearch reports, a plaintiff attorney can expedite possibly a pretrial settlement or a settlement mediation, you name it, type of negotiation if there is hard evidence that the case is worth more than the insurer is valuing it. And of course, managing costs, timing, billing, you can actually bill VerdictSearch back to your clients with an internal clock. And this is, again, what makes it time efficient. And I'll end this webinar with one other point that's not here. And that is, I do often receive contact from everyday individuals wanting either a free trial or wanting a day pass to VerdictSearch.com. They are individuals that claim they've been injured. They're typically of high net worth, college educated. They're the types of clients that you listening right now would certainly want. But why are they going into VerdictSearch before they've retained an attorney? They want to see that a law firm or an attorney has a successful record that they've performed. Remember, VerdictSearch is very easy to use. You do not have to be an attorney to use it. So with its intuitive interface, everyday people who fit a profile of really a blue chip type of potential client may go into VerdictSearch through a day pass with my help and look around for attorneys that may be the best opportunity for them. They're not just going to listen to their friends or look at an ad at a bus station. They are going to take the extra time and effort, the extra 9 yards to make sure that their representation is top notch. So by reporting your cases, being on VerdictSearch, analyzing what your competition is doing on their cases, and utilizing this through the trends that we can isolate and connect between the news, albeit law.com, which I highly recommend, or any other general news and reporting service on employment and discrimination claims. Those could be connected either by using the search tools or general keyword search in VerdictSearch to make those connections. What are these trends resulting in? What are they worth? So I'm going to end with my contact information. Again, it's Evan Michaels at American Legal Media. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. I hope you found it useful. Again, just not enough time to really do a dissertation on 3 or 4 cases. Employment law is a very vast and evolving area. There are new types of claimants all the time. And by staying apprised of the news and developments and connecting that to what VerdictSearch is able to ascertain, you can certainly stay apprised on where this particular area of law, dynamic area of law, is moving. So again, my direct dial is 212-457-1977. It's emichaels@aln.com. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you have a case or a potential fact pattern that you would like me to actually do a search with you, I'm happy to do one free courtesy search in any jurisdiction, discuss what we can offer here at ALM to further bolster your practice and give you the tools necessary to have that competitive edge. And also, what's most important, to do the best work possible, the best advocacy possible for your clients. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of your day.